Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, dear students. I hope you are all doing well. Dear students, today we will start unit number 3, lesson 3, reading the show part 1 on page number 16. So, dear students, let's start reading. Read the text and answer the questions. How did William and his friends plan to collect money? Were they successful? So, dear students, this is a chapter about William and his best friend Henry, and they had a gang named Outlaws. Outlaws mean some bandits or criminals, and it was a schoolboy gang. So, let's start reading the chapter. William and his best friend Henry, who was 12, were members of the Society of Outlaws, a schoolboy gang. The outlaws used to meet in the old barn. Barn mean a pound or a shelter on half holidays or Sunday afternoons and make plans. So, Henry and William were best friends. Henry was 12 years old, and they were members of a society named Outlaws. It was a gang of some schoolboys, and they used to meet in the old pound or the old shelters on half holidays or on Sunday afternoons, and they always used to make plans for the future. Let's buy some bows. Bows means arcs and arrows, suggested William. Then we can go out and shoot things like birds and chickens, just like real outlaws. So William suggested let's buy some arc and arrows so that we can go out and we can do some hunting, and they want to hunt birds and chickens like the real outlaws. Where are we going to get these bows and arrows? Asked Henry. We haven't got enough money to buy them. They are too expensive for us. So Henry asked that where we are going to buy these arrows and bows. We haven't enough money to get these things. They are too expensive. Then we need to collect some more money, said William, who usually had bright ideas. Wait, I know. We could do a show, get some animals, and charge our friends money for looking at them like at the zoo. So William said that we need to collect some money first, and he always had some bright ideas in his mind. Then he said that, but I know, we could do a show, and we will get some animals and charge our friends money for looking at them like at the zoo. So the others nodded. Nodded mean they gave a signal or a gesture. Well, then he continued, we will have a show and get enough money to buy bows and arrows. We will arrange the show for next Sunday afternoon. William returned home for tea with his parents and Aunt Emily. Aunt Emily was a lady who had been recovering from a slight cold for about 2 years. She spent her days eating and sleeping. She had not yet mentioned a date for her leaving, which made William father anxious. It will be a long time before I'm better, said Aunt Emily, as she took 7 pieces of bread and butter. And another piece of cake, please, William. Then I will go upstairs and have a rest. So William returned home for tea with his parents and Aunt Emily. Emily was his aunt, and she was a lady who had been recovering from a slight cold for about 2 years. She spent her days eating and sleeping. all the time, and she had not mentioned any date for her leaving, and this thing made William's father anxious. So now, okay, then she took a seventh piece of bread and butter, and she always used to eat and sleep. So she said, another, give me another piece of cake please, William, and then I will go upstairs and have some rest. Every Sunday afternoon, William's mother visited a friend and his father took a long afternoon nap. When Sunday came, William quietly asked his mother whether he could have a few friends in his room for the afternoon. She agreed. So William asked his mother, asked permission to have his friends in his room for Sunday afternoon, and she agreed. She allowed him. The Outlaws had prepared all the exhibits for the show, and by 2:30 all was ready. Each exhibit William had written a card. For each exhibit William had written a card with all the facts upon it. So dear students, the Outlaws, the gang of that schoolboys, prepared all the things, all the preparations were done for the show, and William had written a card, and he wrote some rules and some regulations on that card. There was a large white rat painted in blue and pink stripes. Stripes mean bands. There was a cat shut into a cat basket, which it was scratching angrily and with its claws. There was a tall giant, one outlaw on the back of another, their large combined wrapped on a large sheet. There was a black fox fur which had belonged to William's grandmother. It was laid the floor as though it was asleep. There was Henry's small pet dog. Henry had painted it blue. So these were the things that they brought for the exhibition, by which they were going to earn some money. Now William was the showman. He had dressed in a red dressing gown of his father and made himself a small red mustache from the edges of an old rug. The children climbed onto the garden wall, crawled along it, climbed through the window of William's bedroom and paid their entrance fee. So William was the showman, and he dressed himself in a red dressing gown of his father, and he made himself a small mustache from the edges of an old rug. And the children then climbed onto the garden wall, crawled along it, climbed through the window of William's bedroom, and they paid their entrance fee to watch the cat, the rat, and all the things that were brought for the exhibition by William and Henry. When they were all seated, William proudly presented the exhibits one by one. This is the only blue and pink rat in the whole wide world. It lives in China and was brought over specially for the show. And this is a wild cat holding up the basket with the cat in it, which was hissing and spitting. Look at this wild cat, the fastest mean a savage cat in the whole country. After William had introduced all the exhibits, a large deep roar started coming from the next room. It sounded like a mighty wind with some low deep thunder. Aunt Emily was having her afternoon sleep and was snoring. As the audience seemed very interested in Aunt Emily's snoring, William had another bright idea. If they are listening, they should be paying. But why just listen? Maybe they could pay extra in order to visit the snorer next door. So dear students, William presented all the animals that were brought for the exhibition before in front of the audiences, and then after William had introduced all the exhibits, a large deep roar started coming from the next room, and Aunt Emily was sleeping there, and she was taking her afternoon sleep, and she was also snoring. So the audience seemed very interested in Aunt Emily's snoring. Then William had another idea in his mind, that if these audiences are listening, they should be paying for it too. But then he realized that why just listen? Maybe they could pay extra in order to visit the snorer next door. So William went quietly into Aunt Emily's bedroom. On the bedside table he saw her comb, a hairpiece that she usually tied into her own hair, and a glass containing her false teeth. William came back and quickly wrote notices for these objects: the wild woman's hairpiece and the wild woman's teeth. He wrote another notice for Aunt Emily too. The snorer immediately became the most popular exhibit of the afternoon. Children came out of the room and rejoined the back of the queue, paying extra money to revisit the snorer. Suddenly, in the middle of all this, Aunt Emily awoke with a start. Adopted from the show of Reginald Crompton. So, dear students, William went to Aunt Emily's bedroom very quietly, and on the bedside he found her comb, a hairpiece that she usually tied into her own hairs, and he found a glass containing her false teeth. Then he came back with another idea. He wrote notices for these objects, and he wrote the wild woman's hairpiece and the wild woman's teeth. He wrote this notice for Aunt Emily's, some other notes for Aunt Emily's too. So this snorer immediately became the most popular exhibit of the afternoon, and the children came out and they stand in the queue again, paying extra money to revisit the snorer. But in the middle of all this, Aunt Emily awoke with a start. So dear students, this was your lecture for today. I hope you will enjoy it, but all you have to do is read it and understand it. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.